Thank you, Mr. Courtney. I'd now like to recognize Mr. Walberg from Michigan for his questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the panel for being here. Since President Biden took office, more than 300,000 migrant children have come alone to the United States, alone to the United States, alone to the United States. On top of this, according to the New York Times, the Biden administration has lost contact with nearly 100,000 of these unaccompanied minors. A shocking number of these children are exploited by their sponsors, who are often criminals, traffickers, and members of transnational criminal organizations. And they're forced to work in order to pay debts to their sponsors. In May, Chairwoman Fox, myself, and Congresswoman Chavez de Remer sent a letter to the DOL requesting documents related to DOL's coordination with other federal agencies regarding this serious matter. To date, the Department of Labor has not provided any of the internal documents requested in this letter. There are answers. There's data, but nothing has been sent back to us. Mr. Law, do you believe that President Biden's open border policies created this humanitarian crisis?
Oh, there's no question. With the change in administration, the border situation, it's night and day. You had the most secure border in our nation's history through a number of policies that I outlined in my oral and written testimony. And the Biden administration on day one, over the objection of career Border Patrol officials, tore it all down and encouraged a mass-scale immigration asylum fraud. They know that these people do not qualify. They're largely economic migrants, and while you may sympathize for their circumstances, you are encouraging them to be connected with traffickers, to take on debts that they cannot afford, to be allowed into the United States for a benefit that they do not qualify for, and then you put them in an uncertain situation where they're supposed to be ordered removed, but then this administration has essentially nullified and defunded ICE through their policies as well.
And our border agents are not allowed to do their job. And kids are being hurt as a result of this. The Biden administration has touted its creation of the Interagency Task Force to combat child labor exploitation. However, I'm concerned that this task force amounts to just window dressing. It's my understanding that as of June 14th, there has only been one meeting and not a single full-time DOL staff person dedicated to the task force. This is deeply troubling because I'm concerned that the Biden administration is failing this vulnerable population, kids, and putting them in severe danger. I've introduced the Enhancing Detection of Human Trafficking Act, a bipartisan bill with my colleague, Representative Sablon, that requires the Department of Labor to ensure its employees are regularly educated on how to detect and respond to the instances of human trafficking and are even interested in doing it. This bill has passed the House previously with bipartisan support, and it's my hope that we can do it again. Mr. Law, as far as you know, is the Biden administration doing anything to address the exploitation of these migrant children?
I'm not aware of anything productive. I would say they are actually contributing to the problem. For example, they have stopped any sort of DNA testing at the border when you have a claimed familial relationship, a parent and child. Once the unaccompanied alien children are transferred to Health and Human Services, they are cutting them loose to sponsors who are unvetted. They remove the vetting requirements for people to work in those facilities. There is a significant likelihood that our federal government has essentially handed over these vulnerable migrants to their trafficking networks to be subjected to further abuse. And the New York Times, I think, has several articles that have exposed the horrific conditions that are the result of open border policies, and not the compassion that was claimed by this administration when they took office.
And to think that our government has been part of the trafficking process, that's tragic. And that's something that has to end. Thank you for answering the questions, and I yield back.